Hi, it's Debra Atkinson, and you're watching the Flipping 50 Show, the place to reset, tune up, and prepare for your second and better half with the vitality and the energy that you want. In every episode, I answer questions from women just like you about what they're struggling with most. And I answer the questions about what to eat, how to move, and how to think so you can focus on the one or two key things that will get you the most results in the least amount of time. Send me your question to flipping50tv.com. If I choose your question for the show, I'm going to send you some exclusive access to gifts and goodies I'll tell you a little bit more about later. Even if I don't choose your question for the show, you get immediate access to Muscles in Minutes. It's my guide for toning those hard to tone areas. Today's episode, we're going to cover a question from Valerie, who writes, "My biggest challenge is back strength. I have regular back soreness across my shoulder blades. I sit all day at work. I've been to the doctor and he says just walk, don't overdo it. When I do exercise, my brain is so go-go, I end up overdoing it and get sore and quit. What do I do?" Valerie, thanks for the question. And if you sit at a desk too, just like Valerie, you get it. We get compromised in our upper back position, leaning forward, rounding, tightening these muscles in front, and getting passively loose behind, and it causes problems. I'm going to show exactly how to solve that problem today. There are three categories we're going to dive into today. In Muscles in Minutes, we're going to go through how to release tight muscles, restore your range of motion, and then re-strengthen the right muscles so you're feeling better. And we're also going to talk about how to get the most out of your walking and be the most comfortable when you're doing it. In Minute Maid Meals, we're going to actually focus on going beyond coffee for breakfast and how to get the most out of your lunch and dinner to help you feel better in your upper back, even though you didn't know it was related. And last but not least, we're going to talk about bliss charge. And here's why. It's really important that you realize for women, we carry our tension in our upper back and our neck. So although if you're at home and you also spend a lot of time at a desk and over a computer, there's physical stuff going on. We get tight in front, passively loosened back. That compounds upper back pain, discomfort, and we want to look at that. But is there more going on? Is there tension from somewhere else in your life that's also storing itself right up here where you have the tendency to store it anyway? And we got to look at all of it if we're really going to feel better. We're going to start with releasing the muscles that are tight. So what I want you to do is to hold your head on the side, bring your ear over toward the shoulder, and then with the opposite hand, you're going to reach down. So you're lengthening between your shoulder and your ear, just expanding those tight neck muscles. You always want to hold for about 15 seconds. And let's do the other side. Bring your arm up, long neck, over to the side so you get the length and then stretch through that length. Reach this other hand down and release. Now this next set, similar but different. Your hand is going to go in the back of your head. You're going to take your chin and look down as if you're looking down at the same thigh. It goes like this. And bring your head up and let's do it again. So to the side, looking down your thigh, hand right behind you, remember with length. Relax. What you're going to do next is going to seem like a check-in with your range of motion, but it also enhances range of motion. Just going to look over each shoulder. Go as far as you can. And then coming right back to your center, you're going to do the same thing looking up and looking down. I want you to make sure you're keeping the length in your neck, not just dropping backward when you go to the rear. Looks like this. And you can repeat that a couple of times. Now on to restoring range of motion. So what we're gonna do is just pick your shoulders up slightly to the front. You don't need to overdo that. We already go forward. You're gonna bring them up close to your ears, and then I want you to really concentrate on circling back, sewing your shoulder blades together and drawing them down toward the hip. And now watch from the back. Lift through the shoulders. Now pull your shoulder blades together toward your spine and sew them down toward your hip. And then you're going to leave them right there with your chest open. One of the things that's contributing to that upper back pain is passive stretching that happens because we're tight here. So let's open those up. I want you to bring your arm up about 90 degrees, even with your shoulder, and then you're going to rotate in with your hip so you feel a good stretch across the front of your shoulder and the top of your chest. Hold for about 15 seconds, and then let's do the other side. And I want you to roll into it just 10% beyond that place where you first feel the stretch. Hold it for about 15 seconds, and the stretch gets easier while you hold. Don't keep pushing more, just hold it. And done. So you've released, we've restored range of motion. Now it's time to re-strengthen the right muscles. So we're gonna do some things lying face down on the mat to pull those shoulder blades together toward your spine and down toward your hip. Then we're gonna start to bring it up and get some more real functional strength in those muscles. So as we dive into strengthening, what I want to call your attention to is a couple details. So the devil is in the details. Here we go. With your toes, you want to make sure that you're pushing them, shoelaces or the tops of your barefoot feet down into the floor. That'll help you ground your tailbone down and protect your lower back. And while you're lifting the upper body, that's important. So as we come down, I'm going to align my head, I'm going to lift up, lengthening through the neck. So remember this, it's the job of your head and neck to follow what your upper back does. Don't let your head lead, let your head follow. Watch what I mean. You're gonna put your palms by your sides, turn your thumbs out, palms down, and then we'll start. So lifting up nice and long. I want you to pull your shoulder blades together and reach your fingers to your feet, really squeezing your shoulder blades together. You're going to do a little lift and down. You're not really releasing your shoulder blades. You're squeezing them in. Now these little muscles have gone to Tahiti on you. We've got to call them back from vacation because they have a really short attention span. So if you feel like you're losing it, don't try to just go to 15, doing them poorly. Come down, regroup, and then start again. But try to work yourself up to sets of 15 and relax. Next up, we're gonna spell I, T, and Y. Similar form, lead with your upper back, follow with your neck and your shoulders. And it looks like this. Palms down, thumbs out. Be the I, be the T, and be the Y. And I have my palms face in, thumbs up to protect my shoulders. Back to the T and back to the I. Stay up if you can. Bring it out and bring it up. Back, and I'll do one more with you. I, T, and Y. Come back through the T and come back down. Next up, you're gonna be on all fours, and I'll show you how to make that into a push-up pose in a second if you're ready for more. But we're gonna do scapula push-ups. So all the motion is gonna happen right at your shoulder blades. So watch right up here, and here's how we go. You're gonna sink together and then push up. Sink together and push up. In your mind's eye, you want to imagine your shoulder blades squeezing together, and right here is kind of sloppy, and then press and spread them apart. trying to get in touch with those muscles that are still on vacation and wake them up. And that's it. But if you're ready for more, come out. So now you have a little bit more weight on those shoulders. And if you're ready for even more, you could go to your toes. But better form is much more important than making it hard in the beginning. Your last one for strengthening those weak muscles brings you up, so now you really have to work against gravity, even though we're gonna start with no weights. I want you to sit comfortably, but in a place where you can pitch forward from your hip with a long back, so you're not letting go and leaning over your legs. You're gonna drop your shoulders down, relax the muscles in your neck that tend to get over tight, so we release them, keep that in mind. And what I want you to do is to shrug backward and down toward your hip with your shoulder blades. Rather than coming up here, you're lifting and drawing down. That's count one. In count two, you're gonna bring your arms out to your side. Now you're gonna lower them back down, and then finally release your shoulder blades or your scapula. So there's two joints working here, your scapula and your shoulder joint. So try to separate the two, and it'll be difficult at first until you find those muscles. It's gonna look like this: squeeze, come out, lower down, and then release. Now I'm doing this with nothing in my hands, and I can still feel it. Those muscles are lazy, so don't be too anxious to put weights in your hands thinking you're gonna do more and get fit faster. Start with nothing, really get in touch with the right muscles, and then start to add weight with really small weights first. I would start with 1 or 2 pounds at the most, so that would be a soup can or a 2-pound weight. Most likely you have soup cans somewhere in your house, and that'll work just fine. Try to work your way up to 15, and then you can do repeats of sets of 15, and that's it. Okay. Last but not least, if you too are tight through the upper back and you're walking or jogging, even doing elliptical trainer, pay attention to this. Really important that we loosen up through the upper back and we get some rotation and mobility in that upper back where we should have it. But if you are passively tight, pulled together, your tendency is going to be to hold that, and that tension is kind of locked in. Now that you have released it, restored range of motion, you're ready to go. So when you go out and walk, I want you to pay attention to, are you holding your arms stiffly at your side, moving more like a robot, or are you releasing that consciously and then swinging your arms, letting your shoulder blades go, moving side to side? You should actually feel yourself through the waist and feel relaxed, like there are weights hanging down from your ears, drawing your shoulders away from you. So it's a very relaxing activity, not one that causes you to tighten up. Then you know you're on the right track. You may notice we're not in the kitchen. This is a funny place to start Minute Maid meals, but it's really important that we talk about why we're going into the kitchen. If you're physically trying to exercise away a problem and you're not paying attention to what you're putting in for fuel, you may back yourself into a corner and find yourself restarting again and again and again. Valerie, you've shown, and pay attention to this, that you keep starting. So don't be just thinking, I keep quitting. I'm overzealous and I get hurt and sore and I stop. Keep reminding yourself you are also a starter again and again, and that's what's going to make you successful in the long run. We've got to consider whatever you're putting in contributes to the success that you're going to have with any exercise program. So if you are watching, maybe you're eating too much of the wrong thing, or like Valerie, maybe you're eating too little of the right thing. It's really important that you address that to refuel. In fact, we talked about it just last week. So go take a look at this. We're going to talk about what you need at every meal in terms of carbohydrate, protein, and fat. We're going to use a STAR system so you understand exactly what I mean. So here's how our STAR is going to work. With protein, every star is going to represent 10 grams of protein. With fat, a star is going to represent 1 serving of fat. With carbohydrates, it's going to represent 1 serving of carbs, which, just so you know and get an idea, is about a half a cup of brown rice or a half a cup of beans. We're going to flip your current high carb breakfast into a high protein breakfast that's going to help you burn fat all day long and turn off fat storage all day long. And here's a perfect way to do it. You're going to use one of 2 of my favorite protein powders. Either Girls Gone Paleo or Plant Powered Girl are your best choices unless you just exercised. And then you can choose your way. Your way, you want to remember, can spike your blood sugar. So if you're not going to exercise or didn't just exercise, you don't have anywhere to take that blood sugar. So be careful about your choice for whey. So here's what you're going to look like. 35 grams of protein going in this little smoothie, powering your day. Then in here you've got 1 serving of carbohydrate and 1 serving of fat. So it might be coconut that's in here or avocado. And it's going to give you rich, creamy yum, keeping you full till lunch. So let's talk about lunch. When you get to lunch, you're going to want protein at about 25 to 30 grams of protein. Then you're going to invite fat, who always gets to show up. 1 serving is great to keep you full and satisfied. And last but not least, you have a little bit more carbohydrate. And so you want 2 servings of carbs to show up at lunch. Now, you're going to be full, satisfied, and hopefully not so edgy in the afternoon. When you get to dinner, you're going to keep that 25 to 35 gram range of protein. You're going to invite fat, but now you're going to feast on 3 servings of carbohydrates. So you're going to relax, have some calm, and sleep great all night for fat burning that helps you tonight and tomorrow. That's the diet, the lifestyle that I think you should be focused on. But in addition to diet, I think you should be focused on bliss charge. The key flip of the day is that your body handles all stress exactly the same. Remember that sometimes the question you ask or the problem you think you have may be a symptom and a sign of other things that are integrated that all add up to the right answer. Valerie, thanks for your question, and let me know how it goes and how your back tunes up. If you're watching and you've had a similar issue from what you do all day at work, or your question or challenge is something else, send it to me at flipping50tv.com. And if we choose your question for the show, I'm going to send you exclusive access to the After 50 Fitness Formula for Women online course. I'll send you a copy of You Still Got It, Girl, my book, and my friends at Anne Marie Skincare will send you a trio of full-size products for you to try. Even if we don't choose your question for the show, you still get immediate access to Muscles in Minutes. It's my guide for toning hard-to-tone areas, and if you have cellulite, you're gonna love it. What are you waiting for? Let's start flipping 50 together.